The search for a serial killer reaches a tipping point.
56-year-old Dwight Jones targeted mental health workers and lawyers who were involved in his brutal, nasty divorce, a murderous rampage that left 6 people dead.
Over his 20-year marriage, Dwight Jones was accused of physically abusing his wife, Connie Jones, countless times, including one incident back in 2007 where he fractured her sternum. This, according to the couple's divorce records. The breaking point appeared to come a couple years later, back in 2009, when Jones attacked his then-wife in front of their young child, backing the mother into a wall, pushing and hitting her in the face with his forearm. That night, according to court records, Jones also threatened to kill his wife, saying police would find her at the bottom of the pool. The incident prompted the courts to grant the wife an order of protection against her husband. It was during the extensive divorce proceedings when Dwight Jones met the first victim of the Scottsdale killing spree, the renowned forensic psychiatrist Stephen Pitt. After evaluating Jones, Pitt testified in the Jones divorce case that the father has anxiety disorder, mood disorder, and features of an antisocial, narcissistic, and paranoid personality. Pitt also testified that Dwight Jones poses a high risk to perpetrate violence toward mother, the minor child, and/or himself. The court eventually granted the divorce in November 2010, but the ex-wife never felt secure. According to court records, she renewed the order of protection for several years after the divorce was granted, an order that prevented him from getting near her and from possessing a gun.
They also show that Mr. Jones had been institutionalized against his will for evaluation, and during most of the marriage that he did not work, did not contribute much in terms of financial support and that continued even after they had granted him that divorce.
When people go and commit homicides of people that have been in their lives, it's usually because of revenge.
It was last week when the terror began. Witnesses say they heard Dr. Stephen Pitt, a world-renowned forensic psychiatrist, arguing with someone outside his Phoenix office. Gunshots soon ringing out. The 59-year-old left dead on the ground. Less than 24 hours later, police respond to 911 calls at a Scottsdale law office where 2 paralegals had also been shot. One of the women, Valeria Sharp, managing to crawl outside to this bus, asking a driver to call 911.
She is bleeding from her face. She said she thought she may be dying.
Then dying at the hospital soon after. Authorities followed her trail of blood, leading them inside the office where they found Lauren Anderson, who was pronounced dead at the scene. A day later, just after midnight, psychologist and hypnotherapist Marshall Levine was found dead from 2 gunshot wounds inside his Scottsdale office. These murders occurring within a 30-mile radius, police saying Jones used the same gun for all of the murders.
We again had a match linking the homicide to the others.
Yesterday, after surveillance evidence placed the shooter near the residence, officials went to this Fountain Hills neighborhood.
They used a ladder. They got to see through an upstairs window, and they immediately recognized that there was a gentleman inside that appeared to have been shot. They forced entry, and upon doing so, found another victim, a woman, who had also been shot, and both were deceased. There was a relationship between Miss Simmons and Mr. Jones in the way of tennis. They would play tennis together. We learned that maybe a few weeks ago, possibly a month ago, that they had lunch and that he asked her to borrow some money.
Okay.
She didn't loan him that money. I don't know if that speaks to the motive here or not, but I don't think we'll ever really know. But this was more of a friendship than it was anything related to that divorce.
And now police are saying that almost all of these horrific crimes were linked to one event: Jones' acrimonious divorce from his ex-wife, Dr. Connie Jones, a Texas-based radiologist. Court records show that his ex-wife filed for divorce in 2009. Jones had been charged with assault days earlier. He had pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct. Records show his wife sought an order of protection and psychiatric evaluations were requested for Jones. And the psychiatrist ordered to conduct that court-ordered evaluation, Dr. Pitt, the man Jones had killed. Dr. Pitt was a prominent forensic psychiatrist whose resume of work included several high-profile cases, including the murder of JonBenet Ramsey, the Columbine High School massacre, and the trial of Jodi Arias.
We have been able to tie or basically determine that the shooting on First Street is related to the shooting of Dr. Stephen Pitt.
But that's not the only connection. Dr. Connie Jones's lawyer is a partner at the same law firm where two of the other victims, paralegals Sharp and Anderson, were murdered. Their law firm released a statement calling Anderson a friend, mother, grandmother, and wife who gave all of herself to her family, her friends, and her work, adding that Sharp was a treasured member of our work family. Officials say that the hypnotherapist Marshall Levine was collateral damage, who simply shared an office with another therapist involved in the divorce proceedings.
You do wonder, is this a disgruntled client of mine that was looking for me? I mean, I doubt it, but it could be.
Dwight Jones's ex-wife, Connie, says her husband was emotionally disturbed. In rambling audio messages to his son, Jones accused his ex-wife of conspiring against him, along with well-known forensic psychiatrist Dr. Stephen Pitt.
He had Dr. Pitt give the exam, but the garbage he made up couldn't get me committed to a mental ward permanent like she wanted.
The shooter also allegedly posted a series of videos before his rampage maligning his ex-wife and Dr. Pitt.
There were originally a total of 18 videos, many of them nearly an hour long. They've since been removed from YouTube, but we were able to save 7 of them before they disappeared.
Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel.
In many of those videos, Dwight Jones pointed the camera at a white mask while speaking softly in the background.
I'm going to try to give you the short version of a very long story.
In others, he narrated over a recorded risk assessment interview between his ex-wife, Dr. Connie Jones, and Dr. Stephen Pitt.
This is my ex-wife talking to a guy named Dr. Stephen Pitt.
Pitt was retained by Connie's lawyer, Elizabeth Feldman, to do this interview to get a better understanding of her relationship with Dwight. You can see Pitt in the corner of the video.
Can you do me a favor and say and spell your full name?
8 years ago, Dr. Pitt evaluated Jones's wife, Connie, for a psychological profile of the troubled husband. Jones posted video of the interview on YouTube.
He's not interested in a divorce. He was planning to kill me.
They bring up a fight one night when police were called.
It was a setup to say I was a batterer. She claimed I hit her, even though the police found no evidence of a physical struggle.
But court documents show Dwight was physically abusive to his ex-wife. Dwight calls her a liar and makes serious accusations about how she treated their son. Another video he titled "An Open Letter to My Son."
I've been trying to contact you since the last time I've seen you, which was 2011. I know she's told you many lies about why we got a divorce. To this day, I don't have all of your records from Karen Colby, your counselor. Hello, Yonet, it's your dad. Every time I try to reach out to you, your mother blocks contact. I know what she's been telling you, that I was dangerous and a danger to you and a threat to you and a threat to her. I was never a threat to you.
The reason killers post things online, knowing that they're probably going to be dead when we see them, is that this is also about glory. Glory of taking charge. Glory of feeling powerful.
His ex-wife and her new husband, a retired police detective, actually alerted authorities when they recognized that there could be a connection between her divorce and the crime scenes.
It was his DNA on those shell casings that took us through all those scenes. We had that proof, and we knew that he was our suspect and murderer.
But what police were sure of before they moved in on Jones was that they needed more solid evidence to connect him to the first 4 murders. So they sought out his family up north, collected DNA, and matched it to ballistics.
With all of this evidence, what we needed was that hit on DNA. We had great circumstantial case against Mr. Jones, but we really wanted that definitive proof.
Investigators say ballistics, DNA, and surveillance video evidence connect Jones to at least 3 crime scenes.
Officials tracked him down to this extended stay America hotel and began surveilling him Sunday afternoon before deciding to move in early Monday.
Air 15 giving us an even clearer view of that scene back there. And at one point, we even saw a robot that the SWAT team often uses to make sure that a scene is safe for their officers to go in.
That's it right in front of the window. Now it's inside the room. They did try to make contact with him, and then when they sent the drone in, they found that there was no activity.
I stay on the 3rd floor.
This eyewitness was staying at the hotel when she heard that it was being evacuated.
When I left the room, there were SWAT team, there's a bunch of SWAT team like filling the hall, and they said be very quiet, and so I was escorted.
SWAT team swarmed. The suspect then opened fire.
We have the hotel locked down and there's been shots fired.
Somewhere between 7 and 8 rounds were fired. All officers were safe and okay.
There's shots on the interior of the unit.
When they found Jones, he had apparently committed suicide.
I'm sorry, I'm like kind of still shaking.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
Investigators still say they're poring over all aspects of the shooter's life.
We're taking our time and making sure that we don't miss anything and that we give these victims and their families the justice that they deserve.
Tonight, law enforcement is being credited with likely saving the lives of other potential victims.
I keep wondering about Connie Jones, the ex-wife. You would assume that she would have been a target, or this was all aimed to hurt her or to get after her in some way. Were there efforts to protect her? Was she informed? Was she moved? Was she...
There was no need to move her, as she was already in a safe place, but yes, we were in communications with her and her family.
Now, it's still unclear what motivated Jones to go on this violent rampage now, 8 years after his ex-wife filed for divorce. We do know his ex-wife and his child are both safe.
Forensic psychiatrist Dr. Keith Abloh says he carries a gun because former patients sometimes bear grudges.
There are a small number of those people who will decide, if my life's over, your life is going to be over.
He was a legal owner of a gun. How could that be with the current order of protection against him as well?
Well, the protection order from 9 years ago, 10 years ago would have expired. That domestic violence case was adjudicated, and in all the records that we could find, he was not a prohibited possessor. He bought the firearm legally based on everything that we can see.
Was there ever any communication between any officers and this guy before he took his life that you know of?
No, we attempted negotiations. They tried calling, they tried talking to him. He didn't communicate with us in any way.
Talk about what could have happened had you not got to him when you did. I mean, were there other people could have been killed?
Yeah, you know, Monday was going to be an interesting day for us had we not gotten him in custody. We had several people that we were concerned about that we had contacted, all related to that divorce proceeding. Many locations associated with those people that we were planning to have some protection put in place for those locations and people. My personal opinion is that he was not done. I think he was still going to be carrying out the mission as he saw it. And so it was important that we were able to work so collaboratively together to process information so quickly so that we could bring this to an end. It's one of the biggest operations we've ever run. We ran it jointly with the Phoenix Police Department and then the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, as we all had cases and homicides in our jurisdictions. Maricopa County Attorney's Office was a part of it, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the FBI. The Coconino Sheriff's Office helped us on the north end of the state. The East Valley Fusion Center, the Arizona Counterterrorism Information Center. You can just see how many groups had to come together so quickly. And there was just always a sense of teamwork and just getting to the bottom of it. There was no job too small for anyone. Everyone was willing to do what it took to make this happen. We've eliminated any potential co-conspirators at this time. We do believe that Dwight Jones was a sole actor in this horrible series of crimes.
This is a very delicate area, and we must begin to discuss it. We have not even discussed it in the legislature.
State Representative Randy Freese proposed several gun safety measures this year. Some he believes could have stopped someone like Jones from ever getting a gun. But one lawyer says stricter gun laws are not the answer.
Guns and the gun problem we have is maybe a symptom of that violence that we have. I think that even if we made a law that said nobody can have guns, we're still going to have exactly the same kinds of problems.
The last 96 hours, I believe, reflects one individual's actions that are the worst of humanity. And in that same time frame, I can tell you that the efforts of the men and women who stand with me, as well as this community, reflect the greatest attributes of society. Today is not a success story, but it is a story that has closure.